Awesome. All right, everybody. Well, I'm going to mute you now, but if you want to unmute yourself, you may. And let's get started. So last class in October, so we will continue with some of the poses that we've been working on this month. We might do a couple other deeper stretches because it is the evening. And of course, just adjust and modify, as you all know. You're an easy group to teach to because you're all your own best teacher and listen to your body. So we will start in our gentle inversion. If you have a chair and you want to use the chair, by all means do so. If you're close to a piece of furniture, a sofa, or a lazy boy, and you want to swing your lower legs over the furniture, go ahead. And you can also either lie flat on the floor, add pillows underneath those legs, or even take legs up the wall if you're near a wall this evening. So depending what it looks like for each of us, we may also want to add a little additional cushion for our back. So I'm adding my folded blanket to give my back and the back of my head a little bit of cushion, adding an additional cushion for my wooden chair. So we'll all take a moment to get into our place so then we can settle in for our practice this evening. So as usual, just take a moment to kind of organize, loosen things up, make any adjustments in our surroundings, our clothing. Those arm bones may roll out beside the body, palms up. Or if we want to go right into a little bit of chest opening, we'll bend at the elbows, dropping the backs of the hands towards the floor, getting a nice stretch here across the front of the chest, around those shoulders. Rock the head out a couple times, finding the very back center of the skull. And then we'll close those eyes. They've been working hard all day long. So we'll allow the eyes to rest here for several moments. Poof the cheeks up with air, wiggle out the mouth, tongue, and jaw as needed. And let's take a nice, smooth, deep breath in through our nose right away at the beginning of our practice. Just fill the body up here. And then take a nice long breath back out through the nose, exhaling, releasing the breath, and feeling the body and the mind start to calm and settle down. Let's do that one more time. Inhaling through the nose. Let's breathe in some fresh air, some energy this evening. And then exhaling, cleaning the body out, letting go of stale old air and energy. And then we'll move our concentration awareness more to the physical body. Taking a mental scan of our body this evening from the top of our head down into our fingertips and toes. Consciously letting go of tightness or tension we might find. Letting go of any expression across the face. Relax the jaw, the throat area. Feel the quality of heaviness come over the body as we relax the weight of the arms and the hands. Relax the weight of the legs, even if they're elevated or supported in an inversion, just let them be heavy. Relaxing into the feet and the toes. And then relax all the way around the torso here, around the rib cage, the front and back of the heart, the low back, and the abdomen. We'll continue to let go of any tension or tightness in our body, and we'll start to spread our awareness now to the rhythm of our natural breath. Observing and watching our body breathe this evening. So the element associated with Vishuddhi chakra, which is the area and energy center that we've been concentrating just a little bit more on this month is the element of space. So as we breathe this evening, let's think about the space that we're breathing into, inside the body. Let's feel and notice the space around the body. Not only the contact points with the hard surfaces, the inanimate objects, but also the air and space around us that we're breathing in and out. And on our inhales, we're trying to create more space on the inside of the body, feeling that expansion, the stretch between the rib cage, the rise of the belly. And on our exhales, we try to narrow that space down, compress it so that we can expel all the air out of the lungs. We'll go right into our pranayama. So now we'll start our samavriti breathing, or our equal, even breath. So on that next inhalation, we'll mentally count the number that we're breathing in tonight. When we get to our exhale, we will mentally count the same number out to empty the lungs. Once you found your samavriti, even breath, we will start to layer on ujjayi breath, our victorious breathing, gently contracting the base and back of the throat. Finding that soft whisper-like or ocean-like sound without straining the throat, the breath, or the vocal cords. Allowing that breath to help concentrate the mind even more. And allowing this breath to slow our breathing down in general. So as the breath slows down, we start to take these more expansive inhales and exhales. We can add 1 or 2 counts to our even breath. Remembering that ujjayi breath does stimulate the area of the throat, so it can be beneficial for thyroid, parathyroid issues, beneficial for our endocrine system. This breath also stimulates the area around the mouth, the tongue, and the jaw. And we can use this breath throughout our practice during our asanas when we need to energize a little bit more. But we can also use this breath throughout our day when we're trying to concentrate or calm the mind, and even to prepare ourselves for our meditation. And then we'll all cycle through one more complete round of breathing. We'll let this breath be our biggest breath of our day yet. So we'll really try to put some effort into this. That next inhale, we will fill up our space as much as possible, letting the abdomen expand, the rib cage front to back, side to side, and just keep inhaling, 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 till there's no more space to fill up. And we've gotten to that point where we can no longer breathe in. Slowly, calmly, and smoothly start the exhale. And we want this to be our biggest exhale of our day yet. So we'll put just as much concentration and effort into squeezing and emptying the lungs. Push the air out. And when we think we have any more air left in, exhale even more. And then at the very bottom of that, where there's no air left, calmly release the breath and let it wander away wherever it wants to go. And then we'll come back into that physical body, feeling our relaxed body on the ground or on our props. And we'll start to wake the body up. So we'll give those toes a little wiggle, wake the fingertips up, a rock of the head side to side. Depending where we are in our space, you might be able to stretch our arms overhead and just reaching a little bit side to side here. Those of us with our legs up on a chair, we could extend one leg up at a time, pressing the back of the thigh or the eye of the knee into the edge of the chair. Maybe both legs, that's okay, point and flexing the feet. We can also take our long body stretch if we're extended out on the ground. And if anybody moved into legs up the wall, slide those feet down, open the knees out into bound angle for a moment. So just give the body a stretch, move it around a tad here. And then we'll float those arms down, either step the feet in or draw the feet to the edge of the chair. And then as much as possible, we'll draw the knees into the body, giving our back a little rock side to side here. Then one arm will fall beside the head. We'll roll it on over onto our side, pausing for a moment. And then let's press down into the ground. Take your time, there's no hurry. We'll bring our body up off the ground and we'll reorganize to find our first seated position. So if we do need to move things around in our space, just do so mindfully. And then we'll add things as well to prop up our sit bones. So depending how we're feeling today, we might need a little bit more cushion, a little bit less. If you got a lot of movement in today, maybe you're feeling a little loose. If you've been sitting a lot today, like I have, it might still be a little stiff, even though it's the end of the day. Once we've got our support under our sit bones, again, just readjust any comfortable position in those legs, whether you're sitting cross-legged or heel-to-heel alignment. Let's extend those arms out beside us and then turn the palms up. Taking another big breath in. Let's reach those arms up, giving ourselves a nice big stretch. Palms turn out, exhale, arms float to the floor. Now do maintain a little bit of core strength here. We want our spine to remain long. On this inhale, we're gonna add that neck stretch. So we'll float the chin up and look up. On the exhale, no rounding of the spine here. As the fingertips float down, we're adding Jalandhara Bandha, throat lock. So we're just pulling our chin towards the chest. Inhaling, lift and lengthen. Remember, we just don't want to drop the weight of the head backwards. Try to keep the neck long. And on these exhales, your chest stays lifted. And we're just trying to compress the front of the throat and stretch the root of the neck. One more round with our breath. We'll meet on the next exhale. So whenever our chin is down to our chest and the fingertips are reaching down, you may continue to draw the arms out, or at this point, just shrug your shoulders down as long as you don't collapse your posture. We'll do a little bit of our half neck roll. So on the inhale, right ear to right shoulder, gazing forward. The exhale rolls the chin straight back down. Inhaling left ear to left shoulder, gazing forward, exhale down. So roll one more time to each side here. We will meet the next time our right ear is relaxed on top of our right shoulder, towards the right shoulder. So we'll pause here. Spine is long and erect, a little bit of core engagement, arms reaching out, or really just dropping away from the ears. So we'll concentrate on lengthening and stretching out the left side of our neck and top of our shoulder. Choose to stay here or float that left arm out slightly. Just breathe into it, keep the breath flowing. Or fingertips to shoulder, other hand above the ear. See how that feels. And then we might turn our drishti down towards the lap if we need more of a stretch for the back of our neck. And remember, we can always revisit one of the positions that we already explored, whatever feels best for you tonight. Take another breath in. On the exhale, release the hands back down to the ground. Roll the chin straight back down to the chest. Look to the belly button. Inhale, we'll do the other side. So we'll hold and breathe here. Left ear falling towards the shoulder. Shoulders can fall away from the ears, but we still want to keep our waistline strong to keep our spine in neutral. Right arm might float up and out a little bit. We can add the right fingertips to shoulder, left fingertips above the ear. Kind of see how that feels. Good. And then again, we might take the gaze downward. I definitely hold my attention up the back of my neck more, and I'm noticing that more and more the more days I spend on a computer. So depending on what we did today, maybe we were out working in the yard, getting ready for our leaf raking, whatever it might be. Take another deep breath in. On the exhale, release the hands back down. Let's roll the chin straight back down. Look at the belly button. Next inhale, we'll float both arms and the head up. Big stretch up, open the front of the throat. Palms touch. Let's exhale to our center. So we'll switch up the cross of our legs, give them a quick wiggle if needed, placing the opposite foot in front. And we're gonna hold our twist tonight. So continue to draw the low belly in, sit up tall. Let's float our left fingertips over towards the knee and walk our right fingertips a little bit further behind us. Remembering we want to keep this nice level line across the shoulders and the chin. Breathe it in. And then on the exhale, start wringing everything out to the right. So we'll feel this through the mid and upper back, the shoulders, the neck. We will allow our head and eyes to follow all the way into the twist. And we really want to try to stretch those eyes out. So open them as wide as we can and peek to that furthest point behind us that we can. Big breath in. Hold the twist in the body, exhaling, turn the head to look forward, and then we will look over our left shoulder. Again, here you might tip your chin down slightly or bring your gaze downward if you need a little bit more for the back of the neck, or you may keep your head in neutral. Body twisting to the right, head to the left, breathe it in. On our exhale, we'll unwind. So the head and the body will come back to neutral. Let's take one centering breath. Inhale those arms up. Exhale, float the fingertips back down. So same thing other side, right fingertips over, left fingertips will walk behind us. No weight in these hands. My waistline is strong to prop up my spine. We'll inhale. And on the exhale, I'm gonna start squeezing my left side, using my muscles to draw me into the twist, feeling that rotation up the mid, upper back, through the neck, all the way up to the crown of the head. Eyes are wide open, peeking to that furthest point behind us. Taking one more breath in. Hold the twist in the body. Exhaling, we'll turn the head to face forward. We will peek over our right shoulder, bringing out the neck the opposite direction. This can be a really nice release for tension in the neck. Maybe dropping the chin down slightly or bringing our gaze downward if we need more for the back of the neck. But keep the action in the body to the left, head to the right. Big breath in. And exhale, unwind. Head and body come back to center. And again, inhale, let's reach those arms up. On our next exhale, bring just the left hand down to the ground. Let's lean it over to that left side for our lateral stretch. Inhale, we'll pull ourselves back up to center. Exhale, we'll switch. So root those sit bones, hips are heavy. We're creating length through the waist, creating that space through the rib cage. We'll go one more time to each side. Feel free to rotate the head a little differently. So we'll take it one more time over to our right. After we get that nice big stretch in, we'll inhale, meet back up to center. Our palms will touch and we'll come back to our center. So now let's get the whole body moving. We'll roll ourselves or walk ourselves, I should say, into our tabletop and we'll rearrange. Set up that nice strong foundation. Fingers are wide, hands are wide, knees and feet are hips width apart. Lower belly still slightly drawn in, so our spine is in neutral. Let's go into some extension and flexion now for our back. Inhaling, we stretch the spine long, relax the abdomen, lengthening from the tail to the crown. On this exhale, draw that tailbone under, pelvic tilt, draw the belly in. Now try to squeeze the chin to the chest for that throat lock, rounding the upper back. Come back to that nice Samavritti breathing. Rolling that breath through the space of our vertebra, up and down the back. Remember to add any other subtle movements here in the neck and shoulders as it feels good. So we'll take one more of each, or maybe hang out in one of these for an extra breath. And then let's come back to a nice strong neutral position. Reach that right foot back from the hip, ball the foot to the floor. Shift the weight back to that heel to give the back of our leg a nice big stretch. So if you have done a lot of sitting today, we've been in flexion. We want to open up the backs of those knees. Equal weight in the hands here. Breathe it in. And on the exhale, let's bring the right knee down. And same thing, just single leg stretching for our left leg. We can press that weight through that heel. Our low back and hip should be nice and level. Press to the first knuckles of the fingertips. Feel the back of the knee opening nice and wide. Big breath in. Exhale, we'll bring the knee down. So we'll do thread the needle tonight. This will be another little bit of a twisting action for our neck and shoulders. From tabletop, let's inhale the right arm out and up. Open the front of the chest. And on this exhale, we're going to take that right hand behind the left wrist and thread it over to the left. Now we are coming down on our right shoulder and our right ear. So as you lower down, you're going to be coming down onto the right shoulder and the right ear. And that will be a nice big stretch for the outside of that shoulder and a twist for the neck. Do continue to draw in through the low belly so that your core helps support your back here. And we all know this pose, so if you have a favorite variation and you want to go right into it, feel free. But I will remind us of a few options here. So first option is always just to stay where we are. Another option is to take the left hand and reach it forward off the front of our mat. We can also sweep that left hand to our hip or take a half bind and wrap it around the low back, maybe trying to tuck our fingertips into the crease of our right thigh. If we want to add our balancing element here, we kickstand the left foot out slightly at an angle and then slide the foot out away from us, straightening the left leg. And adding the left arm, reaching up to the ceiling with the palm facing forward. This will put a little bit more pressure on the shoulder and the neck, so just be mindful. And it's easy to roll out of this pose, so make sure you're in your safe space if you're trying to balance. Wherever we are, give me one more big breath in. Our exhale will bring the hand and the knee back down. Now the left hand is where it started and it does all the work. So you're going to push down through that left hand, look down, then inhale, slide the right arm out and up. Exhale to our tabletop. Inhale, relax the belly, lift the tail and the crown into cow pose. Exhale, scoop, tuck, and round into cat pose. Tuck that chin. And then we'll inhale back to neutral. Draw that belly in and other side. So sweep the left arm out and up this time. Big breath in. Exhale. We're going to sweep it under the chest to the right. Lower ourselves carefully down onto our left shoulder, left ear. Again, you may go right into a favorite variation. You may choose to stay here. Or right arm reaches forward, Maybe this feels good tonight, just sinking the right shoulder down. Sweeping right hand to hip, putting a little bit more pressure on that left shoulder and neck. Or wrapping the right arm around the low back, trying to maybe get those fingers into the crease of the left thigh. Right foot can kickstand out if we want to play with the balance. Slide the right foot out, straightening the right leg. And then the right arm reaches up to the ceiling with the palm forward. So lots of options. Good, nice choices. Take one more breath in. On the exhale, we'll start to move back out. Right hand down, knee down. Right hand does all the work. Push it into the floor. Look down and inhale that left arm out and up. Exhale, tabletop. Inhale, relax the belly, lift and lengthen from the tail to the crown, cow pose. Exhale, round through the back. Squeeze the chin to the chest as much as we can. And then inhale back to neutral. Let's come off of our wrists, give our low back a stretch, child's pose. Knees open wide, touch those toes. Sink the hips to the heels. Now options here, hands stay wide, extended forward. Heart and head melt to the ground. More passive, stack your arms underneath your forehead. Remember to use your props behind you if you take care of your knees. Good, so now we're just going to give our low back a nice big stretch, the area around our hips. Let the head be heavy here. One more breath. And then on the inhale, let's float our head up and the body up. We'll come back to tabletop. So stack those joints, tuck those toes under, walk the hands one hand's distance forward. We're going to go right into Adho Mukha Svanasana tonight, downward facing dog. Draw that low belly in, press into the ground, floating our hips up, back, and down. Heels are sinking towards the ground. So giving the whole backside of our body a nice big stretch and moving into another gentle inversion here. Now again, if the backs of those legs are tight, pedal your feet a couple times. Bend one knee, sink the opposite heel to the ground. Press that straight leg back towards the back of the mat to intensify that stretch. The neck should be long, arm bones rolling away. However, if we want to add that throat lock again for compression for the front of the throat, in this variation, we squeeze our chin to our chest and try to bring our drishti to our belly as we draw the belly in and back, pressing our thighs back. And then let's all pause, find stillness in our pose for one more nice big round of breathing. Next inhale, we'll look forward. We'll walk our hands to our feet, feet to our hands. And again, you all know how to modify for your backs. Every day is different, so don't assume you'll go into the same pose you did yesterday or last class. Always use some mindfulness to make our decisions. Try to release the neck and shoulders, even if it's supported, one arm at a time. Start thinking about those lower bandhas, so Mula Bandha of the pelvic floor lifting in and up, Uddiyana Bandha, lower abdominals lifting in and up. But the head can release as much as possible. Now we'll all bend our knees slightly, walk our hands onto our thighs with the fingers turned in. Squeeze the chin to the chest, and on the inhale, we're going to round it up. So make sure we're breathing in because we've been upside down. We'll restack our spine, rolling up the spine. Last thing to come up is the head. Once the head is floating on our shoulders, we'll give our shoulders a purposeful squeeze up. Create some purposeful tension. Inhale, and then exhale, allow them to fall back down the body. Let's turn our palms forward, create space through the webbing of the fingertips. Pick our toes up, create space between the toes, and let's just stand in a little bit more of an open Tadasana mountain pose. So toes are up. We'll start from our foundation. Root into the mound of the big toe, inner heel, mound of pinky toe, outer heel. We should feel our arches wanting to lift up away from the floor. Unlock those knees, so shins move slightly forward, thigh bones move slightly back. Lengthen the upper buttock down to the ground, pulling front body to back body. Bringing our pelvis into a nice neutral position. Feel those upper arm bones wanting to roll out even more. So maybe that takes your palms now to face to the outsides of the room. And then no tension in the throat or the neck. Just let the head float. And then start reconnecting to that breath. So we'll take a big breath in, draw a big wide circle out and up towards the ceiling. We'll bring those palms to touch and exhale to our center. And we'll go right into a few rounds of our palm tree pose just to start to wake up our brain for some balance work. So the inhales, lift the heels up now as we reach and extend up. And on our exhales, we try to slowly lower back down. So that is sometimes the more challenging part because gravity wants us to fall back down to the ground. Try to control it. Big reach. You want to challenge yourself even more? Look up when you reach up. And then exhale, lower down. So one more round of our palm tree pose. And then exhale. We'll meet with exhale, our heels down and our hands at our heart. So if we're not at the top of our mat, let's get there now. We can just walk ourselves forward. Our feet should still be hips width apart. We've been doing this high lunge twisting action. We're going to go right into it tonight. So from here, take a big step back with the right foot. Create some more space between the feet as needed for our balance. We're buoyant on the ball of that back foot. Our left knee is bent over our ankle. Our heart lifts up into our hands, but I'm still connected to the core, and I'm using my muscles to drive my tailbone under, pushing my hips forward to intensify the stretch through the front of the right hip. Ooh, a little off balance tonight. So if you're actively tucking your pelvis under, we will feel that pull up through the right hip. On the inhale, we'll add the arms. So the arms will reach up and up to the ceiling. On the exhale, we will come into our twist, bringing our arms parallel. Twist to the left. Take a closed twist first. Do try to take your drishti behind you. Inhale, pull the arms back up to center. Good. Now open twist to the right as we exhale. Arms are strong. Press them down through some thick mud. Inhale up. Exhale, big squeeze to the left. Push those arms down. You should feel the muscles all the way up the arms engaged. Inhale. One more time to our right. Twist through the neck. Inhale, bring everything back up to center. Palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart. From here, we'll take our high lunge twist. So we'll bring our body back to face the left. Some of us are going to stay perfectly upright tonight and forego the tip. If you'd like to try tipping forward, hooking the right elbow to the outside of the left knee, you may try that version. If you're upright today, you are still doing just as much work to hold the upper half of your body in the twist. Strong right leg, strong left leg, pull the core in. Those of us in the hook tonight, what we can try to do is reach our right fingertips down and our left fingertips up, opening the arms up here. Keep the neck long and maybe trying to gaze up to the top hand. Wherever we are, take one more breath. If our arms are open, we need to bring them back to our heart. Squeeze, press off your front foot and inhale, float the body back up. Good. Look forward. Exhale, we got to pull that right foot forward. Use your strength. Stepping right into mountain pose. Good job. Float those arms down, palms forward. Fix your drishti on one spot and just breathe. You might notice a little change in the rhythm of the heart, the breath, but always just come back to the breath. Other side, inhale, arms up. Bring the palms to touch, exhale to our heart center. So this is a little bit more of a balancing act without our hands on our hips. We're gonna take a big step back with that left foot into our high lunge. Yes. And then again, adjust your stance. You might widen it a little bit more. Square your hips, square your shoulders. Left leg straight and strong. Right knee's bending over the right ankle. Now using our awareness and our muscles, pull front body in, squeeze your tailbone under, and thrust your hips forward to intensify the stretch for the front of our left hip and quad. Shoulders should be falling away from the ears, no tension in the face. Adding our twisting movements, inhale, arms up. Exhale, nice big squeeze to our right. Strong arms. Press them down to those visible ledges. Try to get your drishti to the back. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, open twist to the left. Let the eyes follow behind you. Squeeze those muscles. Inhale up. One more time to each side. Exhale. Use that Ujjayi breath. One more time to the left. Good. Inhale, reach everything up. Exhale, hands to heart. From here, we'll rotate and twist to our right. Even if we're upright, you are squeezing your whole right side. You're keeping both legs sturdy and strong, the face nice and relaxed. Those of us that are trying to hinge, we tip at the hips, trying to hook that left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Pull that belly in. Try to keep the hands right at the center of the sternum. The neck is long. And then for another variation tonight, we'll try to open the arms up. Left fingertips reach down, right fingertips reach up to the ceiling. Maybe rotating that gaze upwards. One more complete breath wherever we are. Those of us in the hinge, bring the hands back to the heart. Press off your front foot. Inhale, bring the upper body back to center. Look forward. Exhale, we got to pull that back foot forward. Try to step it right into Tadasana. Float the arms out, palms forward. Focus the drishti. Take a breath and breathe. And then inhale, let's reach those arms up. Big stretch. Drishti to the thumbs, little gentle back bend. Bring the palms to touch and exhale the hands to heart. So I want us to do another standing pose tonight before we do our balancing pose. We're going to practice Parsvottanasana or pyramid pose. So you'll either want your yoga block, some type of props the size of a block, or your chair again if you have it. I'm going to use my chair because this helps me come up and down out of the pose. Even though I might eventually bring my hands towards the floor, I like to have the seat of my chair nearby. And you can just place it to either end of your mat so it's secure. So I'll give us a moment to get rearranged a little bit. So Parsvottanasana pyramid pose is going to be a nice big stretch up the back of one leg at a time so it targets those tight calves, behind the knee, our hamstrings. And then we might add a little bit of our throat lock tonight and we'll get a nice big stretch for all the connective tissue down our back. If you're using yoga blocks, you'll just have them towards the front of your mat. You can start with them on the high setting. So we'll want our feet hips width apart. They're not touching. Hips and shoulders are square to the front of our mat. Let's bring our hands on our hips for this one. So it's important we want our hips to stay level with each other, no slouching or tipping into them. And this time we'll start with the right foot again, but we're not taking a big step like high lunge. This is a smaller step back. We're still not on that tight rope, so maybe just 2 feet or so. And I'm going to let my right toes angle out just slightly, and my heel is grounded. But if your pelvis and your hips turn to the right, we need to re-square them so they're facing straight back to the front corners of our yoga mat. Try not to hyperextend the low back so we're not over thrusting through the chest. Pull front body to back body. The movement is here at the hips, so take a hold of them. Inhale, keep the spine long to start. And on the exhale, we're gonna start tipping forward. So the left leg is straight but strong, so don't jam your knees backwards. You keep those hips and low back nice and level. Now, some of you might have a lot more flexibility. I'm only coming down about halfway, and I'm gonna bring my hands to the seat of the chair now for support. If you have your yoga blocks, high setting right underneath each hand, so about shoulder width apart. It's a little challenging to figure out where our hips are in space sometimes, but you can imagine that we're trying to balance a tray of wine glasses on our low back, and we don't want to tip or spill them. And you actually all look pretty good from where I can see right now, so that's great. We should be feeling this stretch up the back of the left leg. So that's what we're stretching now. So I want you to pull your left thigh bone up and back. Now, as we breathe into this pose, we might be able to move a little further into it, meaning that we still keep our spine long, we keep the low belly in, but we might be able to bring the fingertips a little closer to the ground. A little bit much for me tonight. I'm coming back up. However, if your fingertips are towards the floor, we can add that throat lock again. So we will squeeze our chin to our chest, and some of you are actually fairly close. You might be able to get your forehead to move towards your knee. So there'll be just a slight rounding in the upper back. And this is going to be a big stretch for that connective tissue. It might become a little bit more challenging to breathe. Take little sips of air in and out through the nose. Try to keep equal weight in both feet. It turns into an inversion as well for those of you that have gotten further into it. Let's try to take 2 more breaths in this big pose tonight. Now on the next inhale, especially if we've rounded and gone deep into the pose, we're going to want to come up at least halfway. So that means you'll re-extend the spine. You'll come under your fingertips or rise back up on your props. And you'll want to lift your chest up so we can find a lot of length through our back. Now on the exhale, super strong legs, draw that belly in and bring one hand at a time to your hips. You press off your front foot and you inhale, lead with the crown of the head to come up. It was an inversion, so a little lightheadedness is normal. Make sure you're inhaling. And same thing, exhale, we'll step our back foot forward, float the arms down, focus our drishti in one spot, and just observe here. Nice big breath in. Let's reach those arms up, drishti to thumbs, a little bit of extension. Exhale, turn those palms out and bring the hands all the way around and down to those hips. Hips are level and square. Step the left foot back. Again, smaller stance, just a couple feet or so. Left toes will turn out slightly. Tendency for the hips to follow, so let's draw that left hip forward, right hip back again. Unlock those knees, so don't jam the knees backwards. They're straight but strong. Pull front body to back body. Let the pelvic bowl be the movement. So keep the spine long and just let your breath take you into it. And you might be like me tonight, just going a few degrees into the pose. I'm already getting a big stretch up the back of the leg. When you're ready to move your hands to a prop, then you may do so, but don't put all the weight in your hands. You got to stay connected to the strong legs and strong core. Good. And the slower we go into our poses, the more opportunity it has for the muscles to lengthen and stretch, the safer it is. We don't rush. We're really able to observe how the body feels tonight. So that breath might allow us to go a little further again. Do try to keep your hips level. Think about balancing that tray of wine glasses on the low back. We should be getting the stretch up the back of the right leg, especially through that thigh and hamstring. If you're able to take it a little further this evening and your drishti is more down towards the ground, you may squeeze your chin to your chest, add that throat lock, A little bit more rounding through just the upper back, and that will give you a deeper stretch of the connective tissue through the back side. Try 2 more breaths in this pose. Stay connected to equal weight in both feet. Compact those hips, nice strong legs. The next inhale will bring us up halfway. So we gotta come up a little bit so we can regulate our blood pressure and realign our spine. Find your fingertips, lengthen the spine, open the heart. Super strong legs, strong core. On the exhale, one hand at a time to our hips. Press off that front foot. And inhale, we'll bring the body all the way back up. Once we're gazing forward, exhale, pull that back foot forward. Float those arms down, pause for a moment, and Tadasana. And then inhale, let's reach those arms all the way up to the ceiling. Big stretch, drishti to thumbs for a little bit of extension. And exhale, hands to heart. So let's get into one-legged balance. If we've added some props, mindfully move them back off out of the way. And then we can find space to balance in tonight. And I feel like doing Vrikshasana. I don't know why. It's just a nice calming pose. Our tree pose. Haven't done this one in a while. So to start, we'll draw the insides of the legs and feet to touch. We'll float the head right on top of our shoulders. Right heel lifts up. At that hip socket, we'll turn the knee out. So again, hips should still be level. We're not sinking or collapsing into one or the other. And then choose your variation of your tree pose tonight. Remember, if you're floating the foot up, it's either below or above the standing knee, not pushing to the inside. Now try to relax the face and the throat. A little bit more of a challenge might be to bring the arms out and up towards the ceiling. And then always more of a challenge for the mind and the body is to blink our eyes or maybe practice some of our blind balancing. We haven't done that in a while. So trying to close those eyes, even if that means we come out of the pose. Good, nice challenging, I like it. Let's all take one more breath in. The exhale will bring the hands back in front of the heart. We'll point the knee forward tonight and we will try to extend the leg out. Doesn't have to be hip height, just give it a stretch. Lower it down, pause, keep the focus. Compact those hips, squeeze up through the lower bandos, float the left heel from the floor. Hips should remain level. If you sunk into one, bring them back up. Open that knee out from the hip. And on this side, try to visit the same variation you did on the first side. Relax the face and the throat. Maybe add a different variation in the arms, reaching them up, overhead. And maybe a little bit of that more mental challenge and trust, closing the eyes or blinking them, seeing how that changes our ability to balance. Good, one more big breath in. Exhale, hands come back to center in front of the heart, knee points forward. Give that leg a nice stretch. Lower it down. Float the arms out and down, pause, keep the focus in the drishti. Inhale, big stretch, reach it up, drishti to thumbs, gentle back bend. Exhale, hands to heart. If we moved away from the top of our mat, let's one more time walk ourselves there, standing tall. And again, big breath in, draw a nice giant circle, roll the drishti upwards, a little bit more extension for the back. Micro bend those knees, we'll hinge from the hips and take a nice swan dive. Back down to whatever variation of Uttanasana we're choosing, whether that's supported or full forward fold. Try to release the head, the neck, and the shoulders. Inhale, halfway lift, so hands to shins. Pull the shoulder blades onto the back, gaze slightly forward. On our exhale, we'll bend our knees, plant those hands, and we'll all take a big step back into our planks tonight. We are going to work on our rolling planks. We've been doing these in this class as well. You're welcome to modify and do a kneeling plank. We follow the breath and we try to create that space up and down the spine, rolling through each joint of the back. So one more inhale from plank. Next exhale, squeeze the chin to the chest. Poof up the back of the heart. Roll through the middle of the back. Draw that belly in to get the mid and lower back. Exhaling down through the hips, into the heels. The chin is still tucked, drishti to belly button. Inhale, heels up, hips up. Roll through the low back. Pull that breath up the spine, vertebra by vertebra, to the upper back. The crown of the head is the very last thing to extend forward into plank. Exhale, squeeze chin to chest. Roll up the upper, mid, lower back, hips, legs, heels, chin is still tucking, drishti to belly button. Inhale, heels up. See how much space you can create, how much strength. All the way back up the spine. Head is the very last thing to extend forward. One more round. Use that Ujjayi breath. So we're going to meet back in plank pose on that last inhale. The exhale, drop the knees to the ground, bend the elbows in. We're lowering onto our bellies. So come on down. I feel like I need a little back bending before we wrap things up tonight. So stretch the chin forward, open the feet wider than the hips, taking care of low back, or zip the feet and legs to touch. Slide those hands under the shoulders, squeeze the elbows in, and on our inhale, squeeze the back, including the glutes, to lift the heart. A little baby cobra here, Bhujangasana. Keep breathing. Keep squeezing to lift. Keep the back of the neck long. Pressure hips into the ground. The legs are strong. Inhale, try to maybe lift just a little bit higher. Slide your elbows straight forward underneath the shoulders, coming into Sphinx pose. Knifing the pinky edges of the hands into the ground. Now flop your heels open and let go of clenching the buttocks. So now your legs, low back, and glutes should be relaxed. The arms are doing the work. We're pressing our forearms into the floor. We're going to drag our elbows in towards the torso. The weight of our hips and legs keeps that part of the body grounded. We're going to pull the crown of our head forward and upwards. So we're trying to stretch the front of the body and create space in the back of the body. Relax the hips and the buttocks and the legs. Let it go. Take a breath in. Exhale, let's peek over our right shoulder. See how far we can see back there. Another little twist for our neck. Inhale back. Exhale, peek over that left shoulder. See how far you can see. Make a mental note. Inhale, bring it back. We're going to do that one more time. See if you're able to see a little bit further this time. Look over the right shoulder. See what happens. Inhale back. And one more time to the left. Maybe we get a little bit more into our vision. Inhale, bring it back. Hold here for one more breath. If you'd like to practice seal pose at this point, flip your palms down, press into them, and very gently try to straighten the arms. But you're lengthening the spine. Do not jam your upper body just backwards. Keep pulling the crown of the head forward and up. Otherwise, stay in Sphinx tonight. Gaze is straight forward. One more big breath in. And on the exhale, we will lower all the way down onto our bellies. Turn the elbows out, stack those hands, and either rest your forehead or a temple to your hands. Relax the whole body. Let it go. If the head is turned, we'll take one more breath, but we'll turn the head the opposite direction to counter twist the neck. And then bring those hands under the shoulders, chin forward, tucking the toes under, scoop the tailbone under to draw that low belly in. We got to use some of our strength now. Press into the ground, bring the body back up. Tabletop position, little baby cat cows to give it a stretch. And then we'll sit back one more time in our child's pose to even take a bigger stretch. Feel free to keep the knees together this time. Either stack the fists under the forehead if the head doesn't easily touch, or bring the hands all the way back to the feet to deepen the stretch for the lower back. One more breath. And then hands under the shoulders, squeeze the chin to the chest. Inhale, round it up, one vertebra at a time. Once we're upright, we'll lean over to either hip and bring our feet out in front of us. And then it's time to work our way all the way back down onto our backs tonight. What I want us to have is either a yoga block, a firmly folded blanket, or some type of firm cushion. Because once we get under our back, we'll lift ourselves up and take supported bridge for several breaths to open up the front of the hips and get that inversion back into our throat. And then we'll choose how we want to practice Viparita Karani tonight, waterfall pose, or our version of our inversion tonight. That's a tongue twister. So however you want to come down tonight, I'm going to walk myself down from my back, but you're welcome to try to roll yourself down. We'll all find ourselves on our back. We'll resituate ourselves, loosen things up. Once we're down here on our back, let's just take our long body stretch. So extend the legs down the middle of the mat, arms overhead, stretch things out. Let that low back gently arch. And then exhale, bring the arms down, walk the feet in, draw the belly in to hug our knees in, a little rock side to side here. And then we're going to plant our feet to the floor. We have a little bit of space between our knees and our feet. Arms are going to come down beside the body. Our drishti's on one spot on the ceiling. Squeeze and tighten the back side, the buttock, the hamstrings to lift the hips up. Setu Bandhasan bridge. We'll slide that yoga block right under the low part of the back, the sacrum, so that the whole weight of the pelvis and hips are on our block. Good. Little bit of flesh hanging off the front of the block, totally normal. We'll slide the shoulders under a little bit more, remembering that the neck should be curving up off the ground in its natural curve. So we're going to hang out for some time. You might be able to reach down and take a hold of the back of the heels with the hands. You might want to cactus your arms out from your shoulders, bending at the elbows again. So this is that gentle inversion, redirecting our blood flow into the throat center. If this is comfortable, you might be able to tighten and squeeze the buttock, the back again, and turn your yoga block onto its medium setting. So you're taking yourself up a little higher, but that should not have any impact on the neck whatsoever. And we want to keep the knees in line with the hips, so don't let your knees just fall open, point them towards the toes. Some of us might want to try to slide one heel forward at a time into Purna Setu Bandhasan, full bridge. That's going to give us a much bigger stretch for the front of the hips, but we need to be very mindful how that translates to our low back. A soft Ujjayi breath can have a calming effect in this pose. This is more of a restorative posture tonight. Choose the variation that works best for the body tonight. Let's all try to take 2 more breaths in this pose. So if you've extended your feet forward in full bridge, step your feet back in parallel to each other. If you've lifted taller up on your yoga block, let's bring our yoga blocks back down to the low setting so they're flat and firm on the floor. Some of us will want to slide our yoga block out completely. You do not have to be up on the block to move into the next 2 poses. If you want a little bit more inversion, you'll stay on the block. So whether your block is out and you're on your back now or you're still on your yoga block, we'll pull 1 knee at a time in towards the chest. Using our muscles, we'll extend both legs up to the ceiling into waterfall pose. So the arms are still down beside the body at this point. Point and flex the feet a couple times. And then you may choose to flex, point, or point the feet. If you're pointing the feet, that means you're pointing through the feet, but pulling the toes back towards you. So just the mound of the big toes are reaching up towards the ceiling. Breath should be easy and smooth. Now we'll hold here for a couple more breaths, but those of us that need a little inner thigh groin muscle stretch, we'll open our legs out wide in Supta Konasana. Now, if you're up on your yoga block, your arms are down beside the body to support the weight and the shoulders. You're going to get a much bigger stretch. So just be mindful of that. We haven't done really any inner thigh stretching yet in class, so. One more breath. And then we'll exhale, squeeze those legs back up. Bend the knees. Drop 1 foot at a time back to the floor. If you're already flat on the floor, windshield wipe your knees side to side. If we're still up on our prop, squeeze the buttock in the back, lifting up just enough to slide our prop out. Melt the low back to the ground and rock it out. So I'm going to give us the opportunity, if we feel like we need to do 1 more pose, maybe it's a twist, maybe it's a windshield wiper side to side, letting the knees fall to one side, turning the head the opposite direction to get a more gentle twist, a little bit more hip opening and back bending, maybe a happy baby, whatever you feel it is that your body needs to do before we take our final relaxation. If you're moving side to side, just make sure you balance yourself out. Maybe one side needs a little bit more than the other. It's okay to stay longer on one side if that's what brings balance back to the body. And then once we're ready, we will start to move ourselves into final relaxation. So it might be the time of year that we have extra layers or blankets that we want to lay on top of our body, especially if we're near the floor, socks, that type of thing. So you can always add extra layers to keep the body warm as we move into relaxation. If you want to go back into some type of inversion, use your furniture for the feet, the legs, use your pillows and your bolsters. And then once we're in position tonight where we feel like it is our best place to be to relax, we'll loosen everything up, adjust the clothing and our surroundings. We'll find the very back center of the skull. We'll roll our arms open, palms up, allow the feet to flop open. If we're on the floor, find the very back center of the skull, close the eyes, poof the cheeks with air. Get all the wiggles out in the beginning. If we need to adjust our shoulder blades, readjust a prop or an article of clothing. And then once we press that pause button, this is concentrated relaxation. So we are cultivating stillness. We are letting go of controlling the body and letting the weight of the body to sink into the ground. We're letting go of controlling our breath. Allow the breath to be easy, quiet, and calm. We can mentally move through the body to make sure that we have purposely let go of any tension or tightness, especially around the face, all the way down into the hands and the fingertips, all the way down into the feet and the toes. If the mind wanders, we just gently bring it back to the rhythm of the breath. Or we can rest our mind's eye at Vishuddhi Chakra, the throat center tonight, our place of communication, creativity, and truth, as we give ourselves permission to let go, to relax, and to sink into Shavasana. Slowly coming back to that natural breath. And as we're ready, breathing life back into our body. Waking up the big toe, second toe, all the toes. Waking up the fingers one by one. Rolling the wrists and ankles, rocking the head. And wherever we are, just taking some subtle movement here to let the body wake back up. You could stretch those arms overhead, coming into our long body stretch, pointing, flexing the feet, spreading fingers and toes. And the next exhale, walking the feet in, drawing those knees into the body to massage the backside of the body. And then when we're ready, we'll bring the right arm beside the head, roll onto our side, and pause for a moment. Keeping those eyes closed or soft, press into the ground. We'll bring the body back up one more time this evening to sit up nice and tall and take just a couple more breaths together tonight. Any comfortable position in the legs, find those sit bones, being mindful of our surroundings. We'll re-extend the arms up beside the body, turning those palms up, inhale, breathing and reaching up and gathering up whatever it is we need for the rest of our evening. Turning those palms out, exhaling, floating the fingertips all the way back down, and letting go of all that other junk we don't need for the rest of our evening. And once again, let's inhale, big stretch up to the ceiling. Bringing the palms to touch this time, exhaling the hands in front of the heart. Humbly bowing the head down to the heart to honor and thank ourselves, our bodies, each other, and anyone else that made it possible for us to practice our yoga together tonight. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Peace, peace, peace.